Hey everyone, I'm Rick Beato, and today's Everything Music. It's What Makes This Song Great, episode 46. The band is Periphery, and the song is Absolomb. It's coming up next. For those of you not familiar with Periphery, they're a progressive metal band out of Washington, D.C. They formed in 2005. I've actually had their guitarist, Misha Mansour, on my show Sounding Off. So any of you that are interested after watching this, you should check out that episode. The band style is called progressive metal, but some people refer to it as gent or metalcore, progressive metalcore. Absolomb is a song off their third record, Periphery 3, and begins with a very signature bass part played by Adam Nolly Getgood. Let's check it out. Before we go on, you'll notice the video with Nolly playing the intro that there's a foot pedal in the corner. It's this. It's the Dark Glass Alpha Omega pedal, which is the sound that he uses for this. Now, if you guys are familiar with the band Carnival, this is the same type sound that John Stockman, the bass player, uses. I'm not endorsed by the company at all. When I heard that sound, I got this pedal. So let's talk about what he's actually playing here, the rhythm of it. It sounds really complex, like it's odd times, right? But it's not. It's actually in 4/4. Let's take a look at the rhythm. I love songs that start out with rhythms where you think to yourself, what time is this in? But after listening to it for a second, I thought to myself, this is in 4/4. And I tell you what gave the clue on it is that in the second bar, you get these downbeats. So it's like this. Da 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 ba da ba 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 ba. It's all those little ghost notes, though, that are really tricky. So when I sat down to transcribe this, I started transcribing and I thought to myself, boy, Guitar Pro, I don't know how to do left-hand muting. You'll see Nolly doing all this left-hand muting. So I called my buddy Daryl, who got me on Skype with Levi Clay, who is a master transcriber and knows his program better than anyone. And Levi gets on with us. And I said, how do you do the left-hand muting? How do you put that in there? And he goes, oh, and he said, what song is it? And I told him, he says, oh, I'll do that. I can do that in 5 minutes for you. And so 5 minutes later, he sent me the intro with all the muting. He says, you want all, I said, I want all the picks in there and the left-hand muting. He said, no problem. The X's are the muted notes, and the X's with parentheses are the left-hand mutes. When the drums enter, well, they actually enter with a cymbal grab, but when they actually come in with the fill, they come in with a fill that's before the phrase turns around again, before the downbeat of the next phrase. I'm going to play it, and I'll point where the downbeat of the pattern happens with the bass. Listen. Downbeat. Happens to come in right where the guitars come in. Let's talk about this drum fill and drum pattern. Let me play it. Let's check it out again, but with the drum notation. You notice that the snare is on 2 and 4. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So that's another clue, is to actually listen to where the snare falls. That's a good way to tell if it's in an odd time signature or not. Okay, the guitars enter next, but let's talk about the tuning first. So it's a drop C tuning, so C, G, C, and then F, A, D. The guitar part's made up of 3 separate picking parts. Check it out. Okay, so one of the parts uses this chord here. It's a really cool, it's a very dissonant chord. It's really E flat minor over G, and it goes. And the second time through is. The second part goes like this. And then it sounds like there's a third part that goes. But it doesn't come in the first time. Let me see if I can play along with it here. Second part. Now that third part in there I hear, sounds like it's right in here. It harmonizes with it. Because I'm hearing this in there harmonizing along with it. Just to make sure, I decided, well, let me give Misha a call and see if he remembers what he played.
Again, when I write music, I write it because I'm going to forget it. And then, like, when we go figure out how to play it live, we open the project. It's like, oh, yeah.
I'll solo the guitar here. Listen.
Yeah.
That sounds like...
The other one. Which is interesting because it's a beautiful chord.
Yeah.
But in that context, it changes. Like it loses the beautiful nature because it sounds like the root note should be like that's what you're expecting the root note to be, and then that's also layered with. So it just it's like kind of just the goal of that was just. How far can I stretch this before it just stops working? And I think I was just experimenting with notes until I found something. But that's also why, offhand, I don't know what all 3 parts are playing. But it's 3 clean guitar parts, basically.
So the scale that those chords make up uses the notes C, D, E flat, F sharp, G, G sharp, B flat. It would sound like this played all together. You can hear that C minor quality to it, and when the vocals enter, it actually goes into a C minor sound. So that really dissonant chord sets up the mood of the song. Along with that, there's this part. Really cool sound effect. And then a little further up, we have the second rhythm guitar part that enters. And that's in there to reinforce the bass. Listen. Here's what Misha said about it.
You have to very strategically place your right hand when you're palm muting to get the certain kind of bloom. We get really nerdy with this stuff, especially. So where you place your hand, if you like choke up on it, you get that really metallic thing. If you pull back, you get that very round, and that will bind very well with the bass. And I wanted basic ideas just like the closer that you get to the neck, the more attack you get out of it. The closer you get to the bridge, the rounder. And this is something that like we kind of all do subconsciously now. We just know where to place it. But it's you know, the tolerances are in millimeters there. So.
Next we have the vocal entrance. One thing that you'll notice is that the guitar's gone from this really dissonant chord to a really melodic C minor 9/11 sound. Let me play you the guitar part here that's happening. This is all under the C ostinato part in the bass progression here. Here it is with the vocal melody here.
Reputation's made. I fail to save the cold I seek is all I feel.
Beautiful melody, just a great flow to it. But then you have the real heavy groove. So that's all over that ostinato bass part. The lushness of the voicings there in the guitar, along with that real heavy ostinato bass part, is just sounds killer. Then we hit the next section. There's a really killer pattern of 5 going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the guitar, and there's an underlying moog that happens right here. I asked Misha about it.
So basically, it's a tapping line. And there are these like sort of remainder notes I have to put in. So like that's to bring it to the next chord. And again, I apologize for all the noise. Probably, if I was tracking it, I'd definitely have something on the strings. But yeah, those are the notes there.
Beautiful.
Another thing that I have to say we've been doing a little different this time is we have 2 analog synths that we've been using for layering or just doubling guitar lines sometimes. It sounds really good. The Moog Sub 37 over here, and the Korg mini log, which just came out. I wanted a regular log, but all I could afford was a mini log. One thing I really like doing is the Sub 37 just seems to double up on guitar lines really, really well. In a way where you don't necessarily even know that it's there, but when you take it out, it's like, oh, there's a lot of body missing from the guitar. So it's kind of a subtle way to reinforce stuff.
There's some really cool harmonies here during this section, and this incredibly high vocal note that Spencer sings at the end of the phrase. Check it out.
Without your love, without your love, without your love.
That goes on against this here. So that high part, when he says, without your love, the changes are really, really killer there. So you've got this F minor 9/11 to C minor 9/11 to A flat major 7 with sharp 11. Love those changes. It's changes like that that make this song great. So that held vocal note leads into this next section. It sets up this really cool modulation here. Check this out. So it's going from A flat. Then it goes down to D minor here. And there's a little... I love that modulation there.
Is that what it's called? Where you're changing keys, right?
Key change.
Yeah, key change. Yeah, that came from so this part's actually Jake's riff. This is probably one of the first riffs that Jake ever showed me that he wrote. Like, this is like when we were forming the band, and I was like, this has got to be in a song, you know? I wrote that little tail end thing, I think. Yeah. And that one, I always loved. Sometimes you just hear it if you're like, yep, that's a riff, that's sick. So you know, and it can be sometimes tricky to do those key changes. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But there, I actually thought it worked really effectively. And you can always massage those things. It's a fun little trick, but you can always massage those things with vocals and lines that change. So you'll hear that the guitar line and the vocals change very sort of strategically. Well, there's no vocals on the part before, but the guitar line is changing strategically with it to make it sound like a natural, logical chord change.
The B part of the bridge here has a really, really cool, very periphery riff section here.
We stay so close in this life and run time.
Here's Misha demonstrating it.
What's really going on is being played, which is really simple, but like you can just sort of dance around that. Wow, I'm gonna have to remember this. Just bear with me for a second. Technically, I have to economy pick that. It repeats there. It's a lot of notes. And it's all 16th notes except for that one, which should be a 16th note triplet, I think. Oh no, it'd be 8th notes. As you can see, if we were going to play this live, I'd have to practice it a lot, but this would probably be the riff I'd have to practice the most. But yeah, it's just a lot of sort of dancing around the root note, if you will.
There's a lot of really cool double kick parts in Matt's drum performance here in this section.
We stay so close in this life and run time. Our watches you fade away.
I love that triplet kick. Woo! Then you have this 5 riff again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. great melody over that. Check out the drum part, though. Let me solo it. There's a really cool feedback swell into the guitar solo. Listen. And here's the solo section. Great solo by Misha here. A lot of really cool riffs developed, a lot of really interesting triplet parts. Love that. Check it out. This next section here has the same riff as before, but it's altered a little bit. Listen, here's the strings with it. Listen to guitars. Killer drum fill right there too. Awesome. So the second bridge that happens, they actually add that note B in there in the riff. So it's going C, up a major seventh, back to C. Listen. There. Great vocals there. Check it out.
Do you care at all? I don't see a difference. Is this love at
all? Really cool breakdown. Times there. That's back to the chorus section there. Okay, so now this is my favorite part in the song right here. When they go back to the riff, but they do the riff, but it's all open. And check it out. You know, we didn't even get to talk about Mark Holcomb, who's an amazing lead guitarist for Periphery. I'll do a second song later on that features some of Mark's incredible guitar work. That's all for now. Please subscribe here to my Everything Music YouTube channel if you're interested in the Beato book. Go to my website at www.rickbeato.com. You can find it there. And if you want to support the channel even more, sign up for the Beato Club. You can find out about it on my website. Thanks for watching.